All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the DTI Takeover Show. For those of you who are just tuning in, I am your girl, Miss Kayla. So y'all know what I'm here to do. I'm always here, shining light, spotlighting our dope entrepreneurs, our business owners out here, people who are trying to do something for themselves, people who are trying to create generational wealth and leave a legacy, people who are out here trying to make a difference. That's what our platform is all about. So, without further ado, I have Mr. Ricky Robinson here. He is over the Robinson firm. Hello, how are you?
I am great, Kayla. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. So, Ricky, before we get into the actual firm itself, let everybody know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, first I want to say I definitely appreciate you guys for giving me the opportunity to come on here and talk about my firm and kind of get the message out here to people because definitely, especially the work that you guys do and especially the audience, I definitely want to be a part of that community.
Yes.
But myself, Ricky Ricardo Robinson Jr. I'm from a town called Bogalusa, Louisiana. Shout out to the Magic City. Came from Bogalusa, grew up, really didn't know anything about college at all. Had a childhood friend that introduced me to the Bayou Classic, which is a game every year between Southern, my alma mater, and then Grambling State University. So at that time, that's where I got introduced to college. That's where I got introduced to my school, Southern, and then I kind of went to Southern. So went to Southern, majored in political science there, was there for a little while, thought, what could I possibly do with political science? And there just so happened to be a law school at on campus. And so before I graduated, went to the law school a few times, just kind of browsed around to kind of see what it had to offer there, just kind of getting my future together. Ended up going to law school, went to law school, graduated 2 days afterwards, moved to Texas, started studying for the Texas bar, and then that's how I end up here. And so generally my whole life has just been kind of flowing like water because none of these things is if you would have asked me way back when this is what I would have been doing, had no clue. And so school was exposed. I was exposed to school. I was exposed to law school, and then I got exposed to be in this particular position. So exposure has been important in my life.
That's good. And I'm glad you said that because one of my questions is definitely why did you ever see yourself like in law? What did you have planned for yourself?
Yeah, so I didn't. I bounced around. It was a bunch of things. I know for a long time I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. I don't necessarily know where that came from in my younger days, but that's what I wanted to do. Growing up, I always knew I was going to do something, but I never knew what I was going to do. And again, that's what shout out to my childhood friend's mom for introducing me and exposing me to college because that's really how I got my start into all of this. And so one
Hmm.
of the things that I always talked about is that I never even had intentions to own a law firm. And then as I got, great experience from some of the firms that I worked with and kind of saw a need for how I wanted to do things specifically,
Hmm.
that's how all of that arose. And so here we are.
Here we are with the Robinson firm. So what is it about law that kind of keeps you interested? Like, what is it like you're passionate about?
Man, and I sound like this is just a rehearsed answer, but it's really helping people. My whole life, I've always wanted to do something to help people in a certain type of way, and so the law that I practice now is personal injury. But even going back whenever I was in law school, I
Hmm.
wanted to practice intellectual property. That's where I thought I was going to land. And so whenever I moved to Texas, passed the Texas bar, I applied for a bunch of different jobs. Personal injury again found its way to me. None of this was planned. This just is me going through life and dealing with whatever comes about. And so personal injury was one of those good mediums because obviously someone has a wreck, they're discombobulated by the situation, and so we're that calming factor to basically let them know that hey, you have somebody on your side. I do this. I've been doing this for a long time. You get the medical treatment that you need to feel better after the car accident, and then we also make sure that we hold insurance companies accountable because a lot of times insurance companies will offer you smaller checks at the very beginning, and like Cat Williams said, you got to tell them no. You got to tell them.
You gotta tell them no, man. So you said so you specialize in personal injury, right? So what are some kind of cases that you've kind of dealt with your firm?
Yeah. So one, I want to start off by saying that it is a very common misconception that a lot of people that's involved in car accidents, they think that, well, hey, I'm gonna deal with the insurance company, and if I can't figure it out, then I'll get an attorney. That's not the right way to think about that. Right way to think about it is you need an attorney at the very beginning, because a lot of times if we come in after and you've had a bunch of communications with the insurance company, you've provided them with a lot of documents, you have to kind of unscramble an egg, and it becomes harder to do. And so a lot of cases I've dealt with, I mean, they range. I've had fender benders, I've had dog bites, I've had slip and falls, I've had, cases where people had to get limbs amputated, all types of cases, big ranges. And especially I always tell people, it's one thing if it's a fender bender, if you're at a red light, car bumps into you, okay, maybe that is a case that you can do on your own. But if you have cases where you know that you've been hurt and you have to see doctors and things like that, then that muddies the waters a little bit more, and you want to definitely have somebody that knows what they're doing in those situations. So to answer your question, wide range, even here now, I do everything: dog bites, slip and falls, pedestrian accidents, motorcycle accidents, bicycle accidents, car accidents, truck accidents, all of that. All of that falls within our umbrella.
Okay, so it sounds like, I mean, you pretty much kind of cover everything for the most part. For the most
Yeah,
part.
as it pertains to personal injury, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So for example, few years back, right? We had a car accident. Ever we were T-boned. Car came out of nowhere as we were getting ready to turn, crashed into us. Now we were asked, did we need to go to the doctor? Do we need to go to the hospital? Do we need an ambulance? And those things like that. Now, thank God we weren't injured. None of us were hurt, so we turned it down. Is that something that you recommend people do? Like, if we're not hurt, it wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't necessary. Is it still important for us to kind of get checked out, or does that need a lawyer? Like, can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah. So the thing with that is I always let my client or potential client be that guiding force, because they know how they feel better than anyone. And so if
Mhm.
you're in a situation where you have an accident, you're saying, well, no, absolutely, there's no pain, I don't feel anything or whatever, then yeah, in that situation, if you're confident that there's nothing going on within your body that you don't need to be checked out, then, no harm, no foul. But if you are in an accident and you are feeling some little aches and pains, or if you wake up the next day feeling aches and pains, always
Mhm.
tell people it's always better to get checked out, because you wouldn't want that to go unseen. And later on down the line, and then if it's 2, 3, 4 months later on down the line and you've been having a nagging back pain, and now you're saying, well, hey, I need to go be seen by a doctor, insurance company is going to say, well, hey, this accident happened 4 months ago,
Right.
anything could have happened within these 4 months, and so we can't directly say that the back pain that you're experiencing now is a direct result of the accident.
Right.
And so if you're in a situation where you do feel that you're experiencing some type of discomfort, I do always recommend people to be checked out by a doctor. But if you're saying, well, hey, absolutely not, nothing is going on, then, obviously that's your call.
Got you. So is it important to kind of have like a personal injury attorney, like, on call? Like, I mean, we need attorneys for different things, and so I'm trying to, like, is it necessary to make sure you
Yeah,
have one?
I would say yeah and no.
Okay.
Yeah, on the part of all y'all have me as your personal attorney. So, if you have a car accident, give the Robinson firm a call and I'll definitely take care of you.
Yeah.
Two, I mean, it's not necessary in the way that, you just need to have an attorney that practices personal injury on speed dial, because
Mhm.
hopefully nobody gets in a car accident. But you do also want to have someone that you can automatically go to. So just like all
Got
of the
you.
listeners now, they're saying, okay, well, I'm listening to Ricky Robinson. At least if I know down the line that if I'm involved in an accident, I'll just contact Ricky Robinson versus, just saying that, well, hey, let me just have him on speed dial just in case. So it's by preference. It just kind of depends what each individual wants to do. But I definitely will say, keep us in mind for sure.
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Where do you see the Robinson firm?
I mean, hey, we doing everything. We're doing everything. My goal is to have helped as many people as I can help. Make sure that the process is as smooth as it needs to be. Because one of the things that I pride myself on is communication throughout the entire process. Because a lot of times clients will go through or have an accident and they don't necessarily know what to expect. They don't know what to
Yeah.
do. There's a lot of moving parts. You're talking to the insurance company. You have to get your vehicle fixed. You are going to doctor's appointments. It's a lot of stuff going on. And not to mention, you still have to go to work. If you have kids, you still have to take care of your kids. You still have to cook. You still have to do all of those things. And so it's always beneficial to have someone on your side that has that experience, that knows what they're doing. But to answer your question, to where I see myself in 5 years is just doing the same thing that we've been doing or that I've been doing, just on a bigger scale. I definitely want to be able to be in a position to grow this firm and make sure that everybody that works here has the same vision that I have, as far as keeping our clients informed, keeping them up to date with with everything. If they have questions, getting those questions answered. Because one of the things that I always hear that's common amongst the years that I've been practicing is non-communication amongst attorneys. And that's the one thing that I don't want anyone to be able to say about my firm, because if anything, I want to over-communicate. And so we definitely want to keep that going. We definitely want to have that into the future and, just make it the best we can.
I got you. I got you. So, are you only, can anyone use your services, or are you only local? How does that
Yeah.
work?
So anyone. So basically, the way it works is two different sides of a car accident or a claim, so to say. So you
Okay.
have a pre-litigation side. That is the side that you have before an actual lawsuit is filed, and then you can have a litigation side. Where that comes into play is that for the pre-lit side, all 50 states. We can handle all 50 states on the pre-lit side. Now, if a lawsuit has to be filed, then you have to be licensed in that particular state. But
Mm.
generally, about 98% of cases settle before actually having to file a lawsuit. And so, even if we were to have to file a lawsuit, then what we would do in that situation is get with one of our partners that would actually need to file on the case, and
Mm-hmm.
then we'll go from there. But for me, primarily, I'm licensed in Texas, but we can handle all 50 states.
That's good. That's good. So Ricky, I do want to ask you. I like to ask all of our guests, if there is a piece of advice that they would give the next up and coming entrepreneur, no matter what it is that they're choosing to do, as someone who has their own firm now, what is a piece of advice that you will give that new up and coming business owner?
And I was actually just talking about it this morning, and it's sacrifice and delayed gratification. Because if you're in a position that you're saying that, well, hey, I want to start a company, I want to do this, I want to do that, then you have to understand. And for me, for sure, I've had to miss out on trips. I've had to miss out, on buying a new car or moving to a more expensive house. All of these things, but those things are what put me in a position to actually be able to start a firm. And so you as a new business owner, if you're saying, well, hey, I want to just go out on my own, I'm not depending on anybody else's income and things like that, then you have to understand that, okay, well, now your life is going to be, all the bills you have to pay is coming from you. And then anything that you have to do with the firm is also coming from you, and or the business. And the business needs to make money for you to be able to continue doing whatever you need to do. And so a lot of those things is sacrifice. If you think you need to spend some money, don't spend it. If you think you need to save more. If you think, that you have this idea that you want to execute, make sure you also do all of the research behind it. Because a lot of times It's like, well, hey, I have this idea. I want to, start a clothing company. And it's like, okay, well, how much is the threads? Where are you going to get distribution? And you have to know these things. And so a lot of time is getting past the glam of saying that I own a company and actually knowing everything that you have to do to actually execute it. And then going back to the sacrifice, making sure that you're on the level that you can solely focus on, your company, because it's all you.
Listen, that you said everything that we have experienced as a radio station ourselves. Ricky, you talking about basically a lot of discipline.
Yeah,
That's what I
for
hear.
sure.
That's what I hear. And up and through everything that you said, I hear discipline.
For sure.
Is it
For sure. My
how are you
2014
able
Chevrolet Impala. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
how are you able to have such discipline to get to where you are? Because it's not an easy feat.
Yeah, it's not, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, it was really the delayed gratification aspect of it, because obviously everyone wants to have things now, but I just was like, hey, you can't do it right now. Even whenever I was in law school, if we get a refund check, I'll have everybody doing all types of stuff. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, I wish I can do this, but it's like I know that I'm saving because my intentions were always to move to Texas. And just like I was saying a moment ago, I still drive a 2014 Chevrolet Impala. That was my car in undergrad, but driving that car and having that car paid off allowed me the opportunity to be able to do these things instead of, if I would have went and bought a Porsche or whatever, I would have had a $1,000 car note, and then that pretty much takes away from what I would have been able to do as far as putting it into my firm. And so to answer your question, I mean, it's no one thing that I can say what gave me the discipline in order to do it, but just as also like people always say is knowing your why, because I know that for my parents and all of that, I want to make sure that they're going to be well taken care of. And so for me, like right now, it's just like, okay, well, I can go without to make sure that I realize my vision and, taking them around the world, doing whatever we need to do. And so, yeah.
That's good. That's good. So, Ricky, how can people get in contact with you and the Robinson firm?
Yeah, so phone number is 469-405-9582. That will get you to me. My email address is rrobinson@therobinsonfirm.law. And we have Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook, all at The Robinson Firm.
Straight to the point, straight and simple. Everybody, y'all, make sure if you are in need of a personal injury attorney, if you just need to get some information or want to just get some knowledge, definitely contact Ricky and the Robinson firm. He definitely sounds like someone who's going to make sure that you are taken care of and make sure that you have no questions, and to make sure that there is constant communication. That's very important. So thank you again, Ricky, for being on the show with us today. Everybody, make sure you guys continue to follow Total Entertainment Radio by checking us out on Facebook at Total Entertainment Radio. Follow us on Instagram at the Total ENT Experience, and listen to the station. Listen to the station, www.totalentradio.com, and you can hit that TER radio button. Now, if you feel like getting your praise on for the day, you can also click on the Total Praise Radio button to hear our all gospel, all Christian radio station as well. That's all I got for you all today. I am Miss Kayla, and we are signing out.
See you. Thanks.
You're welcome.